When most people hear the phrase Pirates of the Caribbean, they think of Hollywood, swashbuckling heroes, ghostly curses, and a bit of rum-soaked comedy. But the reality of piracy in the Caribbean during the so-called Golden Age of Piracy from the mid-1600s to the early 1700s was far more brutal, bloody, and desperate than the movies ever admit. The Caribbean was a treasure chest, one fought over by Spain, England, France, and the Netherlands. The Spanish had plundered the Americas for gold and silver, shipping fortunes across the Atlantic in great fleets. This wealth became the irresistible target of men who lived outside the law: pirates, privateers, and buccaneers. Privateers were pirates with papers. During wars between European empires, governments handed out letters of marque that allowed captains to legally attack enemy ships. But the line between a privateer and a pirate was razor thin. When the war ended, many refused to give up the life of plunder. Suddenly, yesterday's naval heroes became tomorrow's hunted criminals. The Caribbean Sea offered perfect conditions for piracy. Countless islands, hidden coves, and dangerous reefs gave pirates plenty of places to hide. The narrow sea lanes that carried treasure ships to Europe made ambush easy, and law enforcement was weak. Naval patrols were scarce, and colonial governors were often corrupt, turning a blind eye for a share of the loot. Names like Blackbeard, Calico Jack, Bonny, and Bartholomew Roberts became legendary. They ruled the seas through terror and reputation as much as through violence. Blackbeard, for instance, tied slow-burning fuses into his beard so that smoke and sparks would pour from his face during battle, convincing enemies he was a demon in human form. Bonny and Mary Red disguised themselves as men to fight alongside their crewmates, proving just as deadly as any of them. Life on a pirate ship was far from the romanticized vision of Disney. It was brutal survival. Crews lived on salted meat crawling with maggots, suffered from scurvy, and endured endless heat and storms. But compared to the rigid discipline of Navy ships, pirate vessels offered freedom, and even democracy. Pirates often elected their captains and divided loot equally, a radical contrast to the social hierarchy on land. The violence, however, was real. Pirates tortured captives for information about hidden treasures, forced prisoners to join them, or marooned enemies on deserted islands with nothing but a pistol and a single shot. Tales of cursed gold and haunted ships spread among sailors, mixing real terror with superstition. By the early 1700s, piracy had become such a threat to trade that the major empires united to crush it. Britain stationed warships across the Caribbean and offered royal pardons to those who surrendered. Those who refused were hunted down, captured, and executed, often hanged at ports as a warning. The body of Black Sam Bellamy, one of the richest pirates in history, was lost when his ship, the Whydah Galley, sank in a storm. Blackbeard himself was killed in a ferocious naval battle off the coast of North Carolina in 1718. His severed head hung from a ship's bowsprit. By the 1720s, the Golden Age of Caribbean piracy was over. But the legends survived, transformed over centuries into novels, folklore, and finally, the blockbuster films we know today. Yet behind the fantasy was a world of cutthroats, cannons, and cruelty, a reminder that the real pirates of the Caribbean lived lives far darker than Disney ever showed.